All right, the 2026 World Cup draw is officially out. And boy, is it already causing some serious waves. Some teams are probably celebrating right now, looking at a pretty smooth path to the knockouts. Others, they're staring at a total nightmare scenario. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the instant reactions and see who got lucky and who got, well, let's just say, completely violated.
So, after what felt like forever, a couple hours of yapping, as our source put it, we finally have the groups. And let me tell you, the verdict is already in. We've got some clear winners, some definite losers, and a few matchups that are already being called, well, less than thrilling.
Okay, so let's get right into it. First up, we got to talk about the teams who, well, let's just say they drew the short straw. These are the nations looking at a massive uphill battle just to get out of the group stage.
Now, to really get what some of these teams are up against, you have to understand this classic term, the group of death. It's pretty much every nation's worst nightmare. And yeah, this draw served one up on a silver platter.
And according to our source, there is one group that is just on another level of difficult. We're talking about the ultimate group of death here. Welcome to Group I, folks.
I mean, just take a look at the lineup here. You've got the absolute powerhouse of France. You've got Senegal, who you could argue is the best team in Africa. And then you throw in Norway, led by one of the deadliest strikers on the planet. This is just a brutal, brutal gauntlet.
So what about that fourth team? You know, the one that has to win a playoff just to get here? Well, our source puts it pretty bluntly, and with a bit of dark humor. Your reward for qualifying? An almost impossible mountain to climb.
And look, the pain doesn't stop with Group I. Scotland's got to be sweating, finding themselves stuck with Brazil and Morocco. You remember them, the surprise semifinalists from the last World Cup? And then there's Ghana, facing an absolute grind against giants like Spain and Uruguay. Tough breaks all around.
Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom, right? On the flip side, while some teams are staring down a nightmare, others are probably popping champagne right now. Let's look at the lucky ones who got a much, much friendlier draw.
And to really capture the vibe of these easier groups, our source has a perfect bit of slang for it. Bobbins. Basically, it means it's kind of rubbish, not very exciting. The total opposite of a group of death.
So which group gets the Bobbins label? Well, look no further than Group D. Pretty much everyone is calling this the big winner of the draw. The hosts, USA, have landed what you could call a dream scenario, a pretty clear runway to the knockout rounds.
And this right here, this just lays it all out, doesn't it? The difference in difficulty is just, wow. On one side, you've got that murderer's row in Group I, and on the other, a group that the USA should, feel pretty confident about. The contrast is absolutely staggering.
And hey, another team that might be feeling pretty good is Egypt in Group G. This could be a sneaky one to watch. With a superstar like Mo Salah leading the way, they've got a real shot to not just get through, but maybe even win the whole group.
So why the optimism for Egypt? Well, it comes down to a pretty brutal take on the top-seeded team in that group, Belgium. Our source is basically saying their golden generation is over. They're calling them washed, even questioning if their star player, KDB, will have anything left in the tank. That could seriously open the door.
All right, so we've talked winners and losers, but let's be real. A World Cup is also about the entertainment, the drama, and our source has some very strong feelings about which groups are going to be must-see TV and which ones might be a good time to take a nap.
And you know what? This stuff matters. For all of us watching at home, the entertainment value is huge. A few groups are getting flagged as potential duds. You've got Group B being called the most boring group I've seen, and then there are complaints about the playing styles of teams like Austria and Croatia, calling their meta of waiting for penalties boring. Ouch. And then there's England's group. It's getting a special kind of shout-out for being, well, super predictable. It's basically being framed as the Harry Kane Golden Boot group, a perfect setup for him to just bang in goals against teams like Panama, but maybe not so great for actual competitive drama. Yeah, this is a story England fans know all too well, right? A dominant run through an easy group, a player racks up the stats, and then reality hits in the quarterfinals or something. So it's a group that might give us a top score, but it might not give us those edge-of-your-seat matches.
Okay, but listen. Out of all 12 groups, all these different matchups, our source has crowned one game, one single showdown, as the absolute can't-miss event of the group stage, a true clash of the titans. So, in one corner, you've got this guy, Kylian Mbappe, the French superstar, already a World Cup winner. He's got that lightning speed that can just dismantle any defense on the planet.
And in the other corner, Erling Haaland, the Norwegian goal-scoring robot, an absolute physical monster who has just broken records everywhere he's played. And now, these two are set to go head-to-head on the biggest stage.
And that's the bottom line. Our source is saying that this single game, France versus Norway, smack dab in the middle of the group of death, that is going to be the most watchable, most exciting, must-see match of the entire first round. I mean, I can't wait.
So, when all the dust settles, what's the big picture here? Well, the balls have just been drawn, and we've already got a blockbuster tournament taking shape. We've got giants on a collision course, we've got underdogs facing an impossible climb, and we've got a guarantee of some incredible drama.
And so, we're left with this final question from our source. Looking at all these groups, from the cakewalks to the absolute cauldrons, who do you think got violated the most? The debate is just getting started.
Audio Jungle.